Hello and welcome to Stage, Screen, and In Between. I'm Helen. Tonight we're at a terrific event at the Huntington Book Revue, and I'm with author JOHN Joseph Dowling, who is here for a book signing and to give a talk on his new book, Chapters of Love, Chasing Sunrise. John, so excited for you. John and I go back a while. I'm very proud of this accomplishment.
Thank you.
You being an author. So maybe you tell our audience, what made you write the book?
Desperation. I walk a lot, like really a lot.
Okay. But you have a reason why you walk a lot, so maybe you want to share that.
Yeah, I have like a genetic mutation that destroys my arteries, and walking helps me grow new arteries. It's called angiogenesis. And without walking like marathons, I would probably not be here today.
Okay, so what does that have to do with you being an author?
Well, it's boring walking 5 to 7 hours a day.
Okay.
And in the beginning, I studied everything I could, from particle physics to religion to society, economics. And after a while, I just absorbed a lot of information. And I was pondering life and my own mortality, walking in the middle of nowhere across the country. And I just started writing. And my mom actually always encouraged me to write, and I've been writing my whole life. Most people like you know me as a photographer.
Yes.
But I've really always been a photojournalist.
Okay.
So I wrote all the time, literally from high school. Even my creative writing teacher used to read my poems in class with the agreement he couldn't tell anybody who wrote them, because they're always about love.
Okay. So this book is actually about not only love, but the search for a soulmate. Am I right?
Yes, yes. I think
Have you found one?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Maybe I have.
I
Maybe
think you would know.
No, I don't think you know at first. No, I've been through that love at first sight thing, and I don't think that that's always the right answer to love.
Okay, so now how many pages is your book?
The book is about 450 pages.
Okay, now does this is this derived from your personal experiences?
Fact, fiction, or fantasy, I will never tell.
Oh, okay, so it's a mix. It's an inspiration from your life, right?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's a lot of my life built into the book. And, yeah, out of respect for my former partners, I won't say what's true and what's not. You know, a gentleman never tells, right?
Okay, so John, how long did it take you to write the book, and where did you write it?
I wrote it while I was walking to California and back in an RV, and then down in Naples and in Europe, really all over the world. It took like 7 years.
And what did you write it on?
I wrote it on my iPhone. While I was walking, almost getting killed like 1,000,000 times, literally looking down, concentrating. Yeah, with noise-canceling headsets on so I could concentrate. So I didn't hear the traffic or see the cows or the electric fences. I fell down at least 1,000 times. Yeah. But I lost 150 pounds. You know, I really got very sick. I have 27 stents in my body. I have 3.5-foot bypass on my right leg.
I know, you're like the bionic man.
I'm very fortunate. I really owe my life. I owe my life to society and the doctors and the surgeons, and what they couldn't fix, I went out and wanted to stay alive. I have children, and you know, I don't want to leave them without a father, and I love life.
Yeah.
But yes, I've always been a helpless romantic, and always. I thought I found my soulmate many times. I've fallen in love many, many times. I hope to be able to fall in love again with the soulmate.
So tell me, I mean, you had to pare this down. So how many pages did you start out with, you know, and you ended up with like 400? What did it start out at?
Well, it started out at over 800 pages. And my editor, who I love to death, Mark Preiser, he's a godsend. We've been working together on many projects over, I'd say, 10 years. And he passes on a few, and then he, you know, like entrepreneurs, and he read the original manuscript and was like, John, you really have something here. Yeah. And he goes, I'm going to edit it for you because, you know, it's too long. Maybe we'll make 3 books. And I said, well, I've got like, you know.
Is that what your plan is, to have follow-up books? Yeah,
it's going to be a trilogy of 3 books. The other 2 already kind of laid out, and, you know, certainly I don't know where it's going to go, because life is going to help determine that.
Yeah. Now, you have already been involved in movie making and production, and I heard from a little birdie that you're considering making this into a film.
Well, I'm very fortunately, yes, I did make a film. You know that because you were my assistant director on that and bailed me out completely. I had no idea what I was doing. But I did raise the money. I was good at that, right?
No, you were good, and you got a good portion of that cast together, so you did a good job.
Pretty much the whole cast.
Yeah.
And then, I gained a lot of experience there, and then I became an editor and a DP, and it was hard to battle through the health challenges and continue in production. So I
can remember back there, didn't you have a big incision on your leg? I remember, like, from your ankle down up to your groin area. You had showed me.
Cut me from my ankle all the way to my belly button.
I remember.
170.
So you're very courageous and positive, and I give you credit for that. I really do. So now, getting back to the film, you might make this a film. Would it be a feature length?
Well, I found out recently through a few gentlemen that are very significantly established in the business that they love the story and they aspire to. One has raised many millions of dollars for former films. The other one is a professional producer, sometimes director, and special effects supervisor, and they love it. So I'm very grateful for that, and I think if the people want to see it made into a film, then yes, it would be.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad for you. Now, also, give us a website where we can find out more about your book, and also where we can see some of your wonderful photographs, because you've been taking pictures for a lifetime, and he takes really terrific pictures of personalities and regular people and charity events, and actually, it's always an honor when he snaps your picture. You know,
I
really.
photographed you a bunch of times. Yeah, I think most people know me from being a photographer. I've been shooting for 30 years, on and off in between my health issues, because sometimes I just have to stop everything and walk. Lately, I have taken about 30 million photographs over the years, so lifting the camera has become a little bit of an issue. They used to be much heavier than they are now.
Right. So tonight you're going to read, you said, the first chapter of the book.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so
get people started,
yeah, give me a website where we can keep up with you.
Chaptersoflove.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about for your pictures, your photographs?
I have photos there, some of my cinematography work, some songs I wrote, love songs for my old girlfriends, and I am a mush, helpless romantic still.
Now, did any of the people that are in your subject matter, did they get in touch with you and say, make sure you say this, make sure you say that, or don't say this and don't say that?
Actually, when I wasn't sure if I was going to do anything with it at first. It was really personal. When you're on your deathbed or approaching your own mortality, you tend to look at things very deeply. And I was on painkillers when I wrote this, really, really strong painkillers, so there was no filter. And then I was on hormone therapy when I edited, so it turned out I was manufacturing too much testosterone and too much estrogen, and I was emotionally all over the place. So it lent itself to better editing.
Well, it was part of your life. I mean, it's part of what you went through, and it's reflected in the book. I wish you the best of luck with this, and I'm going to make sure that you autograph my copy right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John. I love you.
I love you, too.
Thank you, John. Read it to me.
Helen, thank you so much for your dedication and friendship. Remember to always live in gratitude, pay it forward, and cherish your chapters of love.
Nice. Big smiles. Come on, John. There you go.
Thank you so much. Get
a nice answer.
I
won't always answer a yes to a woman.
You know, you're smart.
Happy there. Nice. Great.
So that's why.
Yeah, right there. Right behind me. That's right. I'm filming you. No, it's right on the side. That's the central switch.
Oh, no way!
Nice.
no, there's a bunch more. We're getting started. Very good to see you.
All right, we are going to get started now, so if you could please take your seats. When John is finished with his presentation, we will be continuing to sign books, so if you have not gotten your book signed yet, he'll be right here. If you have not purchased the book yet, you'll find it up at the front counter by each of the registers. Thank you all for coming. John Dowling is a photojournalist and writer who has been writing and taking photographs for most of his life. John would go on to produce and direct feature films, photograph national ad campaigns, as well as design database-driven analytical software. John's obsessive love for photography and writing has afforded him the opportunity to collaborate with thousands of successful models and actors from around the world. Chapters of Love, Chasing Sunrise is a novel about a gifted but naive man whose health is being destroyed by a genetic mutation. In sickness and in health, he obsessively searches for his soulmate as he reflects upon his chapters of love and attempts to understand why his novel of love has eluded him his entire life. Please welcome author of Chapters of Love, John Dowling.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, thank you all very much for coming tonight. Obviously, this is my first novel, and I'm very proud of it. I don't know if everybody knows how I wrote it, but it was inspired by Mom a bit because she said, you know, you should write a book. Your emails are like 15 pages long, and I can't stand reading them. I wrote it while I was walking. I walk a lot, like really a lot. Presently about 5 hours a day, and I do that to grow arteries where my arteries are not doing so well because of some genetics and stuff like that. It's not too bad. I get a nice suntan, meet a lot of people. A lot of you that I met here tonight is because I was walking and just started talking to you obsessively probably. And I'm grateful for that. Being grateful is something I've learned that is deep within all of our hearts. And I think if you read Chapters of Love, you'll find that you'll probably feel more gratitude for your own chapters of love. And I hope you will read it. Just don't judge me, please. Because I did search deep within my own heart to come up with the words and to share this. I think tonight what I'd like to do is to get you started and maybe read the first chapter of Chapters of Love, which is a little bit more than speaking about love. It's speaking about love and our society and I guess what relationships are like. And with that, I will get going. How about that? Yeah? Yeah. First chapter is pretty deep. So for all you slow readers, I'll take my time. The love was gone and she lay empty in my arms like a ghost with no heartbeat. I was falling endlessly into the dark eternity of despair, not knowing just how far the crack in my heart would grow, or if the gap would be beyond repair. Years of emptiness and lost hope were my daily companions. I was alone and unwilling to settle for anyone less than my soulmate, and then I met her. But how far had the cracks in her heart grown? Was her smile just a front to hide her own pain? She was no stranger to betrayal, and her heart was also challenged. This she shared candidly when I first met her, and of course, I saw it in her eyes. Maybe the cracks in her heart is what attracted me to her, as I am so accustomed to rescuing broken hearts, as I recklessly expose my own. I have fooled myself before, blurring the lines between love and despair. What is it about the fluttering of a broken wing that blurs my vision? After so many years of shielding my wounds, have I healed? How is it even possible that after so much pain and betrayal, I could even consider trying again? And why her? How could this possibly be happening? Or was it just in my imagination? What is it about these chapters of love that can be so painful that it takes years to recover, if ever? I do not know if I can or if she is even willing, but she could be the one that will bring some sense or meaning to the years of waiting, hoping and longing for a true soulmate.
Is love even under our own control? Is it beyond our own capacity to limit or create? Or is it simply destiny? And why would she ever choose me? I'm so flawed. Even as I write this, I know that beauty like hers, both inside and physically, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. My heart has not been my own since as long as I can remember. Maybe the pain was just too much for it to heal. When you do not own your own heart, how can you even offer it again? Does this happen to everyone after losing love? After believing I'm living in a world of broken-hearted people, maybe I've literally become one of them myself. I see it everywhere, like an emotional plague. What makes me think that I'm immune to the same plight as all of those I see around me who appear to be heartless? Is it just that they too have cracks in their own hearts so deep, so wounded they cannot go back? So why? Why does my heart bring me here again? Is it possible that time does heal all wounds? She now knows the truth about the depth of my admiration for her, and has neither agreed that it is a path that she wants to take, or denied the opportunity to take it. Of course, she holds all the cards, has all of the power, and will determine if the massive amounts of love I have to share with her is worthy of hers. I can only hope and be authentic and pray that we are everything that I believe us to be. Hope and reality are so often split by fear and uncertainty, poor timing and logic used to override desire, that we tend to deny ourselves what makes us happy. We look to the media for what love is supposed to be, rather than what nature dictates it is. We wander lonely and empty, trying to buy our happiness with things, so we think we have what we need. Most of us never know what we need. We just know what we want, more, but still feel alone. We think love to be a financial security blanket, rather than an expression of our heart. As I grow older and wiser, I realize that life itself is just a series of experiences that last but a heartbeat in time. I understand why we have become so narcissistic as a culture and materialistic. Wanting is a never-ending obsession of what we are brainwashed to think life and love should be. Most of us are simply empty, hardened, wishing our lives were something more, something different, and something easier. Families are torn apart, believing there is more to love than loyalty and lifelong commitments, and we end up with a roller coaster of unfulfilled, empty promises. The getting and spending has become an addiction, and love has taken a back seat to beating our neighbors and acquiring toys and brands that mean nothing. We work endless hours and pay impossible taxes, blinded by the desire for more. Then, in the end, we look back and we wonder where our lives have gone, where the time went, and what the purpose of our lives were meant to be when it's too late. Of course, no one could argue that life is not a bed of roses after the dismantling of the American dream, which started with the Great Recession of 2008 and has continued as a roller coaster ever since. Survival itself is simply no picnic. Despite decades of opportunity, job growth, and good years, globalization, greed, and corruption have plagued our society, with the middle class being left in the wake. Should love really depend on money? Isn't love supposed to be pure and organic? I just do not understand the world we are living in any longer. Or maybe, as I have often characterized myself, I am just naive to what modern relationships are truly about, as admittedly I'm a lifelong helpless romantic. Having experienced both physical and emotional love younger than most I have known, and with more chapters of love than most, I have not believed in the great novels of love, despite the fact I have always hoped to find one. However, now that I am starting over in this new, more challenging economy, I know not that I possess the finances to support a relationship that seems to depend on the almighty dollar. Has love truly become a financial relationship? I hope not, but it seems that it has. Of course, I am as gullible as I have always been when it comes to the realities of modern love. People who value dollars over dedication make no sense to me. Both sunrises and sunsets show her in the most beautiful light. I still cannot believe the way my mind and body react to her voice and her smile. The warmth of her hugs makes me dizzy, a reaction I do not understand to this day, even her scent. I told her today that it was too late, that my heart was already hers, and we shared a passionate day at the beach. We were shooting again, and we both had more than our share of wine on an empty stomach. It was cold, and we were waiting for the opportunistic times between the cloud cover to capture photographs as the sunset came and went behind the clouds. In between, we spoke of life, love, and our hopes and dreams. The alcohol acted as a truth serum, and we shared many truths. Truths we probably wouldn't have shared otherwise. In the middle of it all, she cried. She cried with great anguish and told me not to waste my heart on her, that she was too far gone. She didn't realize that I already knew that her heart was broken, and even if she feels it is beyond repair, I do not. I see the love in her heart and the joy when we create together, and I know that she is not aware that I'm looking deep into her soul. If she would only stop worrying about falling in love, every physical sign tells me she is very happy when we are together. The water was cold and she was dancing her way through it. It was a magical moment. She, for a moment, let herself go and was embracing the day. We created true art, and my heart was beating faster than I can remember, only missing a beat when I started to think. While it took a few bottles of wine and a day at the beach, I felt her body shivering in my arms and her hips gently rolling into mine as I shielded her from the cold. The brief kisses and intimacy were followed by her refusal to give herself to the moment completely, and then suddenly an abrupt change of gears. Before we could think, we kissed, and I knew we connected, and the passion was pure and from our hearts. Then, as she gave herself to the moment, she withdrew her willingness to pursue what her heart desired. We abruptly left the beach and drove to dinner to the other side of the island. She sat next to me with her body stretched over the center console to lean against mine, and she held my hand. It was simply beautiful. Her scent was so distinct and intoxicating that I did not want to shower, but I had to or it would have driven me insane. I know she felt every bit of love that I did that day, but she was torn, still broken and afraid to heal, afraid to ever struggle again financially. I had everything but money to give her, at least for now. We spoke of a life in the future, and we spoke of wants and dreams. I know that my kiss melted the ice around her heart for at least an instant, and she told me there was hope for us. Then she disappeared from my life again, putting me in the friend zone and not even discussing the magic between us that day. I am more than confident that time is all it would take for us to be together, and I know she knows that, but she will keep me at a distance so that she can continue to guard her heart, a heart she has built a beautiful body around, perhaps to auction to the highest bidder. I've seen it 1,000 times over and over, where a woman chooses a big wallet despite her moral high ground and claims she cannot be bought. I would hope she knows at this point I am not willing to buy love, even if it is hers. I have seen love too many times dwindle to nothing over and over with women who sell out, winding up depressed and alone, with more money than they know how to spend and no reason to spend it. I pray this is not her fate. I pray she sees that what we felt is genuine and authentic and stops pushing me away. You simply cannot deny organic love. You do not cry in a man's arms unless you are feeling love. It's simply not possible to look in a man's eyes with longing and desire and then deny love. But for now, she continues to hide. It's been a week. We text and we chat about photographs and layouts, and even the next issue of my magazine, which will come out in just a few weeks. Of course, I doubt that I would have completed it if it were not for my passion for her. She was my inspiration for the entire issue, even if I had to create an entire new magazine just to feature her. She inspires my creativity like no one ever has. I have seen many beautiful women, and I have been inspired, but this is different, almost unexplainable. Even writing this chapter itself, which has become our story, is the only way I can survive in between our time together. I long to see her, hold her, even if I'm delusional. And she was gone, and I was left to walking and chasing sunrise with only hope as my companion. Thank you very much. Very deep, right? Really deep. Yeah, that shows you the depth of my heart. My heart goes real deep. I don't know, does anyone have any questions? This is my first book signing ever and my first novel, so I not really quite sure of the agenda. If anyone does, ask it now, or we're going to go back to book signing.
Who is she?
Oh,
That was a good one.
leave it to you, Sal. All right, so she's real. I'm sorry?
Is she here?
No. She would never in a million years. No, never say never. But I will say what I would typically say, ask that question, fact, fiction, or fantasy, I'll never tell. That includes who she is in any chapter. Because I was raised to be a gentleman by my mama.
You have a question?